So we have Jeff Tambroni joining us now, who will be speaking at the virtual LaxCon. But, Coach, we got to start off with your Penn State team because after the virtual LaxCon, we hope we're going to get a spring college lacrosse season. What are the plans right now, and when you're going to get a chance to see your team again and hopefully get some sort of season underway?
Yeah, it just seems like it's just so long overdue, and we're excited to get our guys back. Hopefully, in the early to mid part of January, where our guys will come back on campus and begin their process of quarantine and testing from their holiday break. And then I'm hopeful that in mid-February, that's what the Big Ten office, the league office, has communicated to our administration. Our administration has communicated to us that about mid-February, we're going to start the season. It's going to look a little different, as you would imagine, than most years. It's going to be a Big Ten heavy schedule. But at the same time, I think we would be excited to play anyone this spring. But I'm optimistic that not only is it going to happen, but it's going to be a very competitive and very exciting season for all of us if we can just get it underway.
I know, as from having a chance to talk to you enough times, like you like to control the things, and college coaches are all like that. Like, you want buses booked and like the schedule set like a month and a half in advance because you want to be prepared. You can't be prepared right now because you just don't know what this year's going to look like. How have you had to adjust just as a coach and your expectations and your feelings this year?
Yeah, that's a great both question and point, and you're 100% dead on. I'm uber on that side of just preparing and planning for every minute of every day, to a point where it probably becomes counterproductive. But we had a meeting the other day, our head coaches did. It was a retreat that our athletic director, Sandy Barber, put together. And one of the coaches that was on the retreat, I happened to be in a group with him. We were discussing it. He's a winter sports coach, and one of the things that he said that made it a little bit more reassuring for us going into it is that that's just what's going to happen. You're going to plan. Then you're going to get up to closer to the moment, and then you're going to throw that plan away, and then you're going to replan, and it's going to happen over and over again. It's going to have to be a shorter term vision, day to day, maybe even hour to hour, and just try to be as productive as we can within those blocks. That plan was helpful for us this fall, and I hope it'll be fruitful and helpful for us this spring.
So I had a chance to talk to now one of your former players, Grant Ament, when things finished and when he decided he was going to play pro lacrosse. And I remember he told me that you guys were on a bus trip back from your spring break trip that was a couple of games over the course of a week when you figured out everything was shutting down. So I fast forwarded to now this fall when you got most of the guys that were on that bus back together. What was it like when you were finally able to get together again as a team and have some semblance of a practice? What was that like after the moment that things ended back in the spring?
It was challenging because, some of the guys that were on that bus that could have been with us this past fall were not with us anymore. And it was a very unceremonious ending for that particular group. And they put way too much time and effort into Penn State lacrosse and their collegiate lacrosse career in and of itself to end that way. So having said that, there's two sides. One, very empathetic to that group and still feel bad for the way that it ended for them. We haven't had a chance to really celebrate their career here at Penn State because we haven't had a chance to get them all back here in person. The other side of it is it was just a kind of a rebirth of just being back together, and it created at least a little bit of a sense of normalcy. There were some times this fall we were just out on the practice field and we kind of forgot about what was going on in the real world because we were just in our own bubble and everyone was out there and we were just competing and practicing like the old days, so to speak, and welcoming in the new crop of freshmen was fun. And watching some of these seniors, there's a blend now of the fifth-year seniors who return, plus the natural fourth-year seniors that are going up there, try to create some chemistry in their leadership. So, it was fun for all of us. It was a long time coming, a lot of planning, a lot of heartache, a lot of hard days, and a lot of reflective moments for our coaching staff and our team. But when we finally got back out there fall, it was fun. And I think at least a little glimpse as to what the spring could be like if we can just get the momentum rolling again.
And my feeling of it has been, from feeling out how players have reacted to just being able to be back on a practice field, is almost like you guys had so much pressure last year after getting to the Final Four to live up to those expectations and get back. And I feel like for everybody, whether there was pressure or not, like this fall was almost a rejuvenation of, hey, I'm just happy to play lacrosse again, and like, let me play and let's go at, and I got nothing to lose?
Yeah, it was, I mean, you bring up a lot of great points. I mean, part of it was like last year, we struggled through some times last year to that point, coming off of the 2019 season, going into the 2020 season. And that's one of those invisible moments or lessons that you have, and you have to go through the expectation now. Okay, now that you've been there, now what? What can you do for me, or what have you done for me lately? And I felt like last year we were just starting to get over the hump and learning through some of those lessons the hard way, but our guys really did a great job of being persistent. And it's kind of the conversation that we talked to our guys about right at the end of last year, and we talked a ton about it this year, is just gratitude, just being able to be together. Let's not think about the results of any game, the results of yesteryear, the results of yesterday or 2 years or 10 years ago, or even our goals for the future about trying to win a national championship. At this point, let's celebrate the chance to be together. Gratitude was a word we probably used every day this fall, and we'll continue to use it through the course of the spring, because I think if there's one thing that the COVID has taught us, and all of the cancellation of the season, suspension of the season, is that you just don't want to take it for granted. And while we have said that to them and reminded ourselves of this often, sometimes it just doesn't become a reality. This became a reality and really gave us a chance to step back and stop thinking about the pressure of having to do something, pivot and say, man, we're pretty grateful to get the opportunity to do this, and that's exactly where we were this fall.
And I think that perfectly bleeds into what you're going to be discussing during this virtual LaxCon, which is a letter to my younger self. And I think we've all learned a lot over the last year, maybe more than we ever thought we were going to learn. Talk about some of the things that you hope that younger coaches maybe can learn from what you've experienced throughout your career when you've had to deal with some heartbreaks, both on the field and off. And obviously this year probably plays a part into it too.
Yeah, and I think that's when I was reflecting back on this, and I've been a head coach now for 21 years, and a coach for longer, but that's exactly what I was hoping to do, is just impart some of that heartache that you talk about, and just the recognition that it's not easy. It's just not an easy journey, and that's not what it's designed to be. But if gone in with the right mindset, if you go into coaching for the right reason, if you continue to stay focused on your purpose, about being around young men and about passing along the same maybe virtues or lessons that you had an opportunity to have passed on to you, that through it all, you'll continue to maintain great perspective. Recognize that failures are a part of your life and defining moments in your career that are going to help you create stepping stones to eventual successes. To keep a decent distance between significance about your impact on these young men, both today, tomorrow, and long into the future. Being a head coach for 21 years gives me the opportunity to look back and also have young men go through the process, not just as student athletes, but now they come out, they're married, they have kids, and now that reflection of what it was like to be back as a member of those teams. Sometimes those lessons take a day, a week, a year, a career, or maybe a lifetime before they sink in, similar to the way they did for me or others. So many lessons that I've learned that I just hope to pass on to younger coaches and some coaches that have been doing it for a long time, that maybe a nugget or two can just remind them how grateful, how lucky that we are to be doing this, and to maybe go into it with a great perspective of why we do what we do every day. It's such an honorable and noble profession if done the right way. We all put so much pressure on ourselves to win, but there's so many other things that go on through the course of the day that we can affect long into the future. And I'm hoping that this presentation in some way, shape, or form will do just that.
Yeah, and I think if there's any time to reflect, it's been the last 9 months or so. I think we've all done a lot of it, and I think people will certainly enjoy having a chance to listen to you. You can hear Coach Jeff Tambroni during the virtual LaxCon coming up next month. Coach, we appreciate the time. We hope we get to talk some real lacrosse again sometime soon, and hopefully we'll be talking to you as we get ready for 2021 season.
Great. Thanks so much for having me. Great to see you.